I'm doing nice, so.
Welcome to the Arcata Ballpark for the 81st season of Humboldt Crab Baseball. Excited to welcome the Fresno A's for Game 2 of a 3-game series. And now the starting lineup, brought to you by Compass Community Credit Union and North Coast Co-op, starting with the visiting Fresno A's. Leading off for the Fresno A's, the shortstop, number 14, Jordan Smith. In center field, number 4, Tyson Miller. At first base, number 24, Ethan Wood. The catcher, number 33, Hayes Edens. Number 13, Mikey Ramirez. Right fielder, number 2, Luke Reed. Third baseman, number 12, Luke Navad. Second baseman, number 9, Brian Sanders II. A's designated hitter, number 34, Parker Crisall. And pitching for the Fresno A's this evening, number 5, Ryan Weller. And now, undefeated thus far in their season, young and ready, everyone, the starting lineup for your Humboldt Crabs. Off their Humboldt Crabs will be third baseman, number 9, Keenan Morris. Rick catcher, Giovanna Torres, number 10. In right field, number 6, Cutter Moss. Crabs designated hitter, number 16, Adam Aguilar. Second baseman, number 28, Nico Lombardi. And first base, number 24, Kaden Lee. Let's Owen Hamilton. In center field, number 3, Kenny Reed. And sending the mail from the mound tonight, a freshman from Sacramento State, number 32, Baylor Sandberg. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we ask you to please stand at the table and remove your hats for the performance of the national anthem. Performing the national anthem tonight in song, Jacoby Creek and Redwood Montessori Choir. Jacoby Creek and Redwood Montessori Choir, ladies and gentlemen. And now throwing out a ceremonial first pitch today is Jesse Smith.
Good afternoon, A's fans. It is play-by-play announcer Jarrett Smith coming at you live from Arcata, California for Game 2 of this series against the Humboldt Crabs. And we got Sloth from the movie Goonies on the mound there for the ceremonial first pitch. That's quite humorous. Anyways, 56 degrees is the game time temp, but I tell you what, it feels like it could be 68 right now because that fog is not over us. We still got sun shining on this field, and it feels very nice in contrast to yesterday. Speaking of yesterday, it was a bruising defeat for the Fresno A's, 14-0 in the opener of this series. It was rough from the start. 2 runs scored by the Crabs in the first inning, and then a 7-run second inning, including a grand slam by Moss for the Crabs. Certainly looking to bounce back from that, and just taking a look a little bit more at yesterday. The A's batting total yesterday was 5 for 31, a 161 team average. And if we take a closer look, the top half of the lineup was only 1 for 18 at the plate. In contrast, the Crabs went 13 for 36 for a 361 average, and they had 7 extra base hits. So over half of the hits for them yesterday were extra base hits, meaning doubles, triples, or home runs. They had 3 home runs yesterday, which I would imagine is going to be an outlier for this series. But top half of the lineup, taking a look at them as well. 10 for 21, nearly batting 500 yesterday. Outstanding stuff. As for the A's, no extra base hits. They struck out 11 times, and the Crabs were able to get free passes 11 times. That's 11 walks, and 2 of their batters were hit by pitches. So we'll run you through the starting lineup for the A's today. Since we are batting first, it'll be George Smith leading things off per usual at shortstop. Second will be Tyson Miller, the center fielder, who's had a great impact on this team so far in his few games. He has had 8 hits in 3 games of play. Batting third, Ethan Wood, the first baseman. Fourth, Edens, the catcher. Fifth, Mikey Ramirez in left. Sixth, in right field. Seventh, Nevada. That's a new position in the lineup for him. We usually see him batting fourth. Batting eighth, Brian Sanders the second at second base, and Parker Crystal will be rounding things out at the DH spot. So here we go, George Smith. First pitch to him is a called strike, 0-1. And sorry about that, folks. I do see we do not have the score pylon on, so I will have to try and adjust that in between innings. Pitch number 2 to George Smith upstairs, ball 1, 1-1. Smith yesterday, uncharacteristic day for at least his standards to start out the year. He went over 3, but threw a walk. Third pitch he sees is a breaking ball that misses way outside, 2-1. Smith grounds this one over to the third baseman, backhands it as Morris over to first base, and that is the first out of this game. George Smith grounds out, and that'll bring up Tyson Miller.
Number 4, Tyson Miller.
As mentioned, Miller having a great start to the season, 8 hits for him thus far on the year. Yesterday, the Crabs had a lefty on the mound. That was Standish. This one's way inside. Miller was showing bunt, but pulled it back wisely. So yeah, yesterday, the Crabs had a lefty on the mound. That was Standish. He had a solid outing. Today, it is a right-hander, and it is Sandberg. Sandberg sets on the 1-0, and Miller takes this one way high, shakes his head in approval of laying off the high cheese. Smiles back at the dugout real quick, or perhaps the on-deck circle, Ethan Wood. Now he steps back out, taking his time. Back in we go. Long pause on the mound from Sandberg, and he airmails this over the catcher, 3-0. Crabs wearing new uniforms today. Yesterday they were wearing a camo uniform, and today they are in their usual blue and red colors. .30 on the way, and Miller takes strike 1. So it'll be 3-1 for him now. Still a hitter's count for him, and we know he can hit. 3-1 pitch, chopped foul towards the Crabs dugout, and just like that, full count. Way upstairs outside, ball 4, and Miller is the first base runner for the Athletics as he draws a walk there, and that will bring up the first baseman, Ethan Wood. Quick word on Miller, real quick. He had 2 base hits for the Athletics yesterday, and he was the only person to record multiple base hits. Ethan Wood's day yesterday, he was one of 4 batters to get a hit, 1 for 4. He did strike out twice. First pitch he sees is upstairs, perhaps outside as well, 1-0. Second pitch he sees called strike on the outside part of the plate. 1-1 here, and Wood settles back in quite quickly. He is ready to swing that wood, and he does on this one, but it is fouled. Is the left fielder going to have a chance at it? No, he's not. It's out of play. 1-2. Favorable count here for Sandberg. Let's see what he goes with here. He'll check over on Miller, that is, but Miller's back in there very safe. This one, a blooper. Is it going to fall in front of the left fielder? Yes, it is. He makes a diving attempt, but it goes past him. Not too far, though, so that'll hold up Miller at second base. So there we go. Ethan Wood with a single and Miller on to second base. And the A's got some early action here in this ball game. It would certainly be a great response for them.
Number 33, Hayes Edens.
If they can get some runs on the board here early on after how yesterday's game went. They've been playing behind a lot recently, and they've been able to get away with it in some of those games. But as we saw in the final game of the Colt 45 series at Chansey Park, and yesterday, it sunk their chances of winning. First pitch to the cleanup hitter, Edens, was a curveball that's in the dirt, ball one. Second pitch he sees is called a ball. Looked to be close to painting that lone outside corner, but umpire doesn't go for it. Edens has been the very productive hitter as a catcher, but yesterday, rough day for him at the plate, 0 for 4, and he struck out twice. Sandberg coming home with 2-0. That's outside. Back pick attempt over at first. It's close, but Ethan Wood's back in there safe. And the hometown groans come out from the stands there. So favorable count here for Edens and the A's here. Runners on first and second, 3-0 count. And Sandberg decides to fake a pickoff move over to second, but Miller was back in there all the way. This time he comes home. Double steal is on. That's ball 4. But, wow, Miller's in there safe. That throw definitely beat him, but looks like he was able to elude the tag there by Morris at third base. Scratch that. Never mind. That was a called strike 3 on Edens, so that's a strikeout. But the double steal is successful. And already in the first inning, the A's have gotten a runner on first base, which they were unable to do yesterday. So favorable here for them to at least cash one run in. The hitter now is the left fielder, Mikey Ramirez. First pitch spiked in the dirt. Oh, we got a pickle here, folks. What are we going to do? Miller's got to go home here. Ethan Wood has third, so Miller's caught the run down. Let's see what we got here. And he is out. I don't really know what happened there. Also, I was completely wrong there. I saw somebody walking back to the dugout. I thought that was Edens, but Edens just walked right there.
From on the 24th birthday kid, here's the 12 years of birthday crab game.
So Miller caught up in the pickle between third and home. He's out. Wood claims third base. Edens is at first. So that is going to be runners on first and third now with 2 outs. Bit of a frustrating out there for the A's as they could have had bases loaded right there. Miller was caught up in between trying to go home or not on that pitch that got away from the catcher. So now it is Mikey Ramirez up to bat. First pitch he sees is a strike. And this one's popped out of play into the street.
And over the fence south, brought to you by the fireplace on F Street in Arcata.
So quickly 0-2, it is now to Mikey Ramirez. See if he chokes up, tries to shorten that swing. Just get it in play. He won't, though. That's a strikeout swinging. And that's the end of the inning. The theme of A's getting runners on base and not scoring continues here in this one. Runners get left on base in this inning. But encouraging signs here with some early action on the base paths. So we'll rotate to the bottom of the first. Crabs have their first at-bats. We come right back.
Got a shout out to the booth for Darlene. Darlene, happy 12th birthday. You're now leading it off for your Humboldt Crabs, third baseman, number 9, Keenan Morris.
Well, as you heard there during the commercial break, Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up, certainly one of the most recognizable one-hit wonders of the 80s. It is 80s night here at Arcata Ballpark, so those jams will be playing all night long. Ryan Weller is the pitcher for the A's today, and his first pitch to the third baseman Morris is upstairs, ball one, and you'll be able to see that on the scoreboard because I got the scoreboard up and running now. Anyways, Weller has been a bright spot for the A's pitching this year. He has pitched 10 1/3 innings. One start on the year. We'll make it 2 now as Morris chops that foul. So this is his second start of the year. He has been credited with 2 wins, struck out 17, walked 10. So a little bit of a high walk count there. But he's only given up 2 earned runs for a 1.35 ERA. Ball outside to the hometown kid, Morris from Eureka. He was one of the players that had a very nice evening last night for the Crabs, 3 for 5, and he scored 3 times. Another pitch upstairs, 3-1 now. It's talking about Weller. We certainly know he can bring the heat, and I'm sure we'll see that this evening, but he's also got sharp bite on those breaking pitches. His 3-1 pitch is inside, so that's a leadoff walk for Morris.
Okay, here comes one of two back rows tonight, Twin Dreamers. And now the catcher, number 10,
Stepping up to the plate,
Havana
the
Suarez.
number 2 hole hitter, it is Suarez. He has been, we'll call it, promoted from the 7 hole yesterday up to the 2 spot now, and as he had himself a 1-for-3 night and an RBI. Popped up, foul, out of play, perhaps into a car. Nope, did not hear the thud. 0-1. And just a reminder, folks, sorry if that PA system, crowd noise is nice, I'm sure, but sorry if that PA system can be overbearing at times. Sitting right next to the broadcast booth, so I got that megaphone pretty close to me, so just making do with the space they give me. That pitch was a ball from Weller, by the way, 1-1. Weller checks over to first base, Moore slides back in safely. Now he comes home. Throw down to second base, but Morris is in there safely. Throw was on the money from Edens, and Sanders scooped it off the ground and applied the tag, but it was too late. So Morris has second base now, and already runner in scoring position with just the second at bat for the Crabs. Weller's 2-0 upstairs. Make that 3-1 for the count now. Dara's taking a look down at the third base coach for the sign. Now digging into the box. Healthy lead there for Morris, but Weller won't throw. Even bigger secondary lead for Morris, but he stays put. 3-2 is the count now. Wouldn't be surprised to see if Morris takes off here on a full count. Sanders pump faking Morris out over there. Now he's getting an even bigger lead, but he stays put. Suarez is walked. That is back-to-back walks to lead off this ball game, and similarly to the Athletics in the top half of this inning, they're on down. Runners on first and second.
Right fielder, number 6, Sutter Moss.
Here comes Moss. He was batting cleanup yesterday, moves up 1 spot to the 3 spot, and he had himself a day. He was Mr. Grand Slam in the second inning, cashing in 4 runs, and he also had another RBI with a double in the first inning. First pitch to him is a strike, 0-1. Weller's second pitch was off speed. That is foul, but it will not be reached, out of play. So 0-2 now. Weller sets on the call from the catcher Edens. Taking a couple looks over at Morris. Comes home way outside with the heater. Good snag there by Edens to avoid going to the backstop 1-2. And it's only the first inning, but those Humboldt Crabs fans are letting the A's hear it with a couple of jeers here. Nothing too personal or malicious, just your normal jeers. Moss chops that one foul into the dirt. 1 and 2 once again. Something that was very surprising to me actually is how there is, this one's chopped down the first base line. It rolls into fair ground and goes over the base, so that is fair. But Ethan Wood secures it and touches first base for the out. But on that ground ball, runners to second and third.
Make sure the from them is good ball.
So that'll bring up the DH Enyards, another person that moved up one spot in the lineup, and he had 2 home runs last night. One out to dead center, and one that bounced off the top of that chain link monster in left field. First pitch, Weller looks for a call low and outside, but won't get it. 1-0. Going back to my point about the field, there's netting around the right field up to center field. You can see those poles. However, that chain link monster in left field, I reckon that's supposed to be the netting there for how tall it is. But if you clear it, that is right onto the off ramp from Highway 101 into the town of Arcata. So I did see someone hit one onto that off ramp in warm up. So it is very much possible for a car. As this one's hit to George Smith, he's going to field it, throw it over to first for the out. But that's going to be a sack round out for Enyart and the first run of this game.
The penalty booth from Fred Court out of New York. His teammate Hayden Lee, 2-home run game last night. Next up, your second baseman, number 28, Lombardi.
The first run scores is Morris. Enyart with the sack RBI there. Suarez over to third, and Lombardi, the second baseman, up to bat. Just to finish my point, somebody unsuspecting driving on the off ramp there could just suddenly get nailed with the home run ball, and that would certainly be a shock. So the first pitch to the new batter is a ball. Lombardi went 2 for 6 yesterday with 1 RBI, and he did score once. That off speed is called a strike 1-1. Weller's 1-1 is a slider called strike 1-2. One, two, tries the slider again, but way low and outside. That's a ball, and Lombardi tells Suarez to hold up over there at third. So count even here. Here comes Weller's 2-2 upstairs, 3-2. I tell you what, it really is nice to have that fog staying off to the ocean right now. It will be rolling in at some point, but you could really see all these trees along the coastline, and just the warmth of the sun is very nice. Did he check his swing? They appealed down to first base. First base umpire says swing. That is a strikeout, end of the inning, but not before the Fresno A's give up the run to the Crabs, courtesy of Enyart's sacrifice ground out to George Smith at short. Morris scores. So the Crabs strike first once again, and it is 1-0 as we go to the top of the second.
Caveat here for 80s night. Tomorrow, game 3 of the 3-game series against the A's. It's going to be things out already. It's Fairy Day. Tomorrow's 12:30 game. Fresno A's, the right fielder, number 2, Luke Reed.
1 inning down, 8 to go at minimum, and Luke Ree is the first batter for the A's in the top of the second. First pitch he sees is off speed, but misses for a ball. So I mentioned only one of 4 hitters got a hit yesterday. Only 4 hitters out of the entire lineup got a hit yesterday, and Ree was one of them. And he is up early in this count, 2-0. Going into detail of his day, he was 1 for 4 on the day. He was batting 8th yesterday, now up 2 spots to 6th. He pops this one out to left field. Shortstop's calling for it, but the left fielder says it's my ball. He gets it. Out number 1. I was hoping to do a live video today before the game, just like I did yesterday, but I got roped into shagging in the outfield and certainly had a lot of fun catching fly balls with the boys out there today. I'll try and sneak one in tomorrow for our matinee game. So 1 out here, Luke Navad, the batter. High curveball breaks down into the zone for a strike. Navad was batting cleanup yesterday down to the 7th hole. He was 0 for 3, but walked once yesterday. Here comes pitch number 2 to him, and that's another breaking ball, but this time too low, 1-1. Sandberg's 1-1 on the way, and yet another breaking pitch there. Looked to be a slider, but must have missed. 2-1. Some of these pitches I could tell if they're strikes or balls, but some of them are out of my view from this skewed angle. Navad fouls this one back, 2-2. Navad has been one of the feature hitters here in the top half of the lineup to start the season, batting average well north of 300 and contributing offensively and defensively. As does he check his swing? They're going to appeal down to yes. That was very delayed there. Umpire didn't even make a call there. Home plate umpire, that is. It took the catcher to point over to the first base umpire, that is, and a strikeout it is for Navad.
Number 9, Brian Sanders.
Very strange sequence there, but with 2 down, that will bring up Brian Sanders, who is still looking to get it going at the plate in his 4th start with the team. Yesterday, he was 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts, 1 hit in 4 games as he swings through this one, strike 1. He's primarily playing at second base, but he has made a start at third base so far. That one is low, ball 1. Parker Cristall is sitting on deck, itching to get a chance to bat here in the 2nd inning. Sandberg's pitch on the way. He did not go. They checked with the umpire. No, he did not. I could tell that one from up here. So 2-1, the count to Sanders now. And Sandberg is set. Here he comes. Swing and a miss on the curveball. He was way ahead of that one and fooled 2-2. Pitch on the way, and it gets him high and inside. He couldn't hold his swing, and that is a strikeout for Sanders.
Mr. Williams continues to play.
So the
runs
A's
on
go
no
down
hit, no
in
errors.
order.
It is
Reed,
a
Havad,
0. The
Sanders
Crabs
fly
lead.
out to left, strikeouts, and it is 1-0 as we go to the bottom of the second.
First baseman, number 24, Hayden Lee.
Bottom of the second now, 80s night continuing here at Arcata Ballpark with an essential of the 80s music. Don't Stop Believin' by Journey. Weller's first pitch of this new inning is chased at upstairs. Strike one to Lee. This is one of two new starters in the lineup for the Crabs. Lee plays somewhat locally here, 3 hours away in Reading at Simpson University. This time he takes a strike, 0-2 the count to him. And he is swinging and missing on that one on a curveball, and he goes down in 3 straight pitches. Good start for Weller and the A's in this inning.
Shortstop, number 13, Michael Peraza.
So technically back-to-back strikes for Weller. It is the last out of the first inning and now the first out of this inning. And with that, here comes Peraza, the shortstop. He was batting second yesterday. He tries to lay down a bunt but misses 0-1. Peraza was 1 for 5 yesterday and did score one of the 14 runs for the A's yesterday. So far, 4 pitches for Weller, 4 strikes. Not that time, though. That's a ball. 1-1. There's 1-1 pitch in there for a strike. Looked to be a slider, and it is 1-2. This one looked to be a curveball, but breaks too far inside. 2-2. Swung on and missed. There's another strikeout for Weller, 3 in a row, and quickly 2 down in this bottom of the second.
Number 2, Nolan Hamilton.
So the left fielder, Hamilton, up to bat now for the Crabs here from Mesa Community College. He is the second new starter in this lineup. Slider in there, just misses on the inside corner. Didn't break enough, 1-0. This one poked at, foul near the A's dugout. Ball in there, 2-1. Having a great start to this bottom of the second inning, looking to finish it off here. And Hamilton chases that one high in the zone, 2-2. Sometimes as a hitter, it is just hard to lay off of that high, stinky cheese. I certainly know that from my days of playing ball. So anyways, with that generous gift of a swing and foul ball on that one to Weller, it is 2-2. Coming home, swing and a miss on that slider. He strikes out the side in this inning. 4 strikeouts for Weller in 2 innings. Strong start for him. And the A's will be coming up with 9 1-2 hitters in the top of the third.
Coming to bat for the A's, designated hitter, number 34, Parker Crystal.
All right, top of the third, sun is starting to get blocked out by those buildings in downtown Arcata, and the temperature difference is already noticeable as that ocean onshore breeze is pushing in. It's getting cooler here, but still got some nice sun shining on the field. First pitch to Parker Crystal, called a strike there, 0-1. He is rounding out the lineup at ninth. Second pitch, almost, oh, it does hit him. I didn't hear any contact on that one, but home plate umpire says yes, it indeed did. So that is a base for Parker Crystal, and he continues finding ways to get on base.
Lineup for the A's, number 14, George Smith.
So leadoff hit by pitch for him. We'll rotate to the top of the lineup. George Smith now up to bat, the leadoff hitter. Takes a bunt, pulls back, strike one there. May have not had intentions of bunting there after all. First at bat for Smith, he grounded out to third base. Nice play by Morris on that one to start things out in this ball game. Checks over on Crystal at first. He's back in there easily. Checks on him over again, and he slides back in safely. one more of those in this at bat, and I do believe that would be ruled an automatic balk. So Crystal might get a little adventurous with his lead now, but he is leaning back towards the first, being a little more conservative with it. Smith swing and a miss there, 0-2. 0-2 pitch to Smith. Chin music almost nails him in the face. Thankfully, it stays away, 1-2. Still hopping over at first base. George Smith swings and misses for that. That's a strikeout for out number 1 of this inning. Here goes Tyson Miller.
Birthday, Randy Mikado, and happy 12th birthday to Blake Mikado. Go Redwood Empire. Up next for the A's, center fielder number 4, Tyson Miller.
Miller's first at bat, he walked, was the first base runner of this game, and also stole a base, but he was picked off in between third and home. And that potentially could have cost the A's a chance of scoring a run in the first inning. First pitch he sees is outside, ball 1. But speaking of him, though, I will say I am impressed with how far he can hit the ball of somebody with a shorter stature. He can get a hold of it from time to time, no doubt about it. Another pitch to him outside, 2-0. Miller is a recent graduate from high school, and he will be playing his ball just about 2 hours south of Fresno at Cal State Bakersfield. 2-0 pitch to him, yet another ball outside as Sandberg falls off the mound there. Looks like maybe he's starting to lose balance there in fundamentals, and he's falling off of his pitch and just losing control, and the ball just keeps slipping outside on him. Sandberg settles back in on the rubber. 3-0 is the count to Miller. Here's the pitch, and it is taken on the outside corner for a strike. So perhaps it's methodical for Sandberg to target the outside there, and that time he was able to get it to stick on the corner. 3-1 is upstairs. That is yet another walk for Miller. He'll go to second. Or excuse me, Parker will go to second, Miller at first. And in 3 innings, this is the second time that the A's have had runners on first and second.
And got a new crop of Dot
Full
Crown
conference on the mound with Sandberg, the catcher, and I would assume pitching coach for the Crabs. Ethan Wood awaits his second at bat of the game. His first at bat, he did get a single, also stole a base. Meeting on the mound is done. Catcher back to home plate. Ethan Wood taking a practice swing there. There he goes into the batter's box, ready to go. First pitch to Wood, swung on, fouled, out of play, 0-1.
Over the fence again, sponsored by
Parker shuffling around there at second, but he's staying put. That one is swung on and missed by Wood. 0-2's the count. Quickly an 0-2 hole to Wood. Just looking to put something in play here to advance the base runners. Of course, if he could get a base hit, that'd be great. Here we go. Pitch outside. 1-2. Pitch on the way, chopped, but foul. Ethan Winter over there, the first base coach, snags that, tosses it over to Hayes Edens in the on-deck circle. Crystal returns back to second. Wood back in the batter's box. And Sandberg takes the rubber once more. He sets now, taking a long look over at Crystal at second base. Now taking a look at Wood. Pitch on the way. It is off-speed curve, but taken for a ball. 2-2. Two-two pitch upstairs. Catcher was thinking about a back pick at first, but holds on to it. So full count now to Wood. 1 ball away from bases loaded. Sandberg sets, taking a couple looks over at second. Coming home with the payoff pitch. Wood chops this up the middle. Might be 2. Flip over to second baseman. To first. That is a pending double play. So another backbreak Athletics. They keep giving themselves some base runners, but nothing doing as that is a 6-4 double play to end the inning. And they are still scoreless here in Humboldt after 12 innings of play. So bottom of the third coming up, Crabs looking to tack on some more runs here.
In the work, make sure all 3 are set and ready. Go! Oh, gonna. Back to your Humboldt Crabs. Center fielder, number 3, Timmy Reed.
Bottom third, 9-1-2 coming up for the Crabs. Interestingly enough, the A's and the Crabs have been mirroring each other in regards to 5 batters for the first inning and then 3 batters for the second inning. We'll see if that repeats itself here. First pitch, strike. 0-1 to the 9-batter Reed. So Weller, after walking the first 2 batters he sees of the game, has settled in quite nicely. He has struck out the last 4 batters he's seen. And he airmails this one, and it bounces in between him and Edens. And the crowd certainly lets him hear it on that one. 1-1. So he's back on the rubber, resets. He's in the windup. Here he goes. 1-1 pitch. on the way. Slider called strike 1 and 2. Here he comes, looking for his 5th strikeout in a row, but it's not going to get it on that one. Pitch is outside, 2 and 2. He'll try it again on this one. Slider doesn't catch the outside corner. He would have liked that call, but excuse me, doesn't get it. Full count. So from 1 and 2 to 3 and 2, payoff pitch on the way for Weller. Foul to the Crabs dugout, and we'll do it again on 3 and 2. Another one, and that one is going to be a walk. Looks to be either low or inside. Leadoff walk there for Reed. He had a couple of those in yesterday's game, and he will now rotate to the lineup. The third baseman Morris now up to bat. In his first at bat, he had himself a leadoff walk in the first inning. So it takes a peek over at first base, does it again, once again, and even another time. Now comes home. Morris swings hard at that one, but fouls it to the backstop, 0-1. Methodically digs back into the batter's box. Morris is ready. So is Weller, taking a couple more looks at Reed. Now comes home, 0-1. Looks to be a slider that didn't quite slide enough. Outside, 1-1. Outside, Eden's throwing down to second base. Smith can't get it, but Sanders is there for the backup. But that is a stolen base for Reed and a runner in scoring position for the Crabs. The call on the pitch was a strike, so 1 and 2 will be the count now. One-two pitch from Weller slips out of his hand. And thankfully, Reed doesn't go anywhere on that one. From the A's point of view, he is still at second base. The 2-2 is the count now to Morris. Thank goodness Weller is okay, because sometimes when you see a ball slip out of the hand like that, it could mean something happened in the elbow. But he seems to be fine. No motioning to the dugout, nothing like that. Just a ball that slipped out of the hand. Tries to go with an off-speed breaking pitch again, but that one misses outside. And it is another full count for Weller. Already using methodical word, but Morris is very methodical when he is stepping back into the batter's box. It is, you would call it a routine. Baseball players can be very cerebral and superstitious in that way. He's basically takes it. Here comes the pitch from Miller. It is coming home. Ethan Wood cuts off the throw, and Reed's going to stay at third. Morris will stay at first. Runners on the corners now for the Crabs, and they are cooking something up in the kitchen here. We'll see if it pays off for any runs. New batter is going to be Suarez now. He walked as well in his first at bat. That looked to be a slider off the end of the bat. Dribbler foul, 0-1. There's Coach Wyatt Featherston coming out to grab the ball in foul territory, retreats to the dugout. Suarez taking his time getting back in the box now. He's in, taps the plate. Morse to see if he's going to second. Yes, he is. There he goes. Edens chooses not to throw down to second. So that is a free base there for Morris. Likely a good choice there for Edens. We've seen it in previous games for the A's, throwing it down to second, and then the runner on third coming home to score. 1-1's the count, and Suarez gets drilled there in the upper arm. Who's rained down on Weller for hitting one of the hometown players here. So after 4 strikeouts in a row for Weller, he has now walked, given up a single, and hit a batter. And now bases are loaded with no outs, and wouldn't you know it, it is Moss, the right fielder, up to bat. That was Mr. Grand Slam last night for the Crabs. First pitch outside, ball 1 to him. Mr. Grand Slam tonight, or last night, he was 2 for 5 with 2 extra base hits. That was the other one being a double. He also did strike out 3 times last night, so obviously a good night for him, but a little bit of a mixed bag as he takes that slider for a strike. Now with the bases loaded, Weller is working from the windup. There's no threat of anybody stealing, so he'll go back to a more comfortable method of delivering the pitch. That one was outside, 2-1. Back in the windup, 2-1. That one is dotted for a strike. Hard fastball in there. Count will even up 2-2. Well, the band section from last night may be missing, but the crowd is certainly making up for it with their noise and at the moment banging on the bleachers. Swinging a miss there from Moss on a heater upstairs. Weller challenged him and he beat him with that one. There is finally the first out of this inning and Weller's 5th strikeout of the game.
Number 15,
Moss to Enyards, and we're talking about 4 home runs here. 2 home runs for him last night, and he is the sole batter with an RBI in this game. He rips this one. There's going to be another in the center field, in between the right field, in between the first and second baseman. He doubles it up, throws it into Wood, but another one scores here for the Crabs. They're up 2-0.
after a series scored against the Fresno A's, we got a midweek match. Stockton Pearl.
The Reed is the runner that comes in to score. Morris is to third, Suarez to second. Enyart settles in at first, and he has both of the RBIs in this game. 5-hole hitter Lombardi up now, the second baseman. First time up, he struck out. The first of 4 consecutive Crabs to strike out. This one's popped up. It might be in fair play. Rhea is making a run on it. Wood is making a run on it, and it looks like Wood is the one that makes the catch. Scratch that. It's dropped. I didn't have a definitive look on that one, but hearing the crowd's groans, it sounded like he probably caught it, but I reckon that's what you get for assuming, ladies and gentlemen. Anyways, Lombardi digs back in with an 0-1 count now after a high and long harmless foul ball on his end. Slider taken for a strike right there. 0-2 the count to him. Weller certainly wouldn't mind a strikeout, but he also wouldn't mind the A's rolling 2 here and getting out of this bases loaded jam with 1 out. Probably one of the few times a pitcher would rather have something besides a strikeout, but scratch that. Weller strikes him out, rings him up there on a slider on the outside corner.
Number 26.
6 Ks for Weller here in 3 innings of work, so really good stuff here. But the walks and a hit by pitch are hurting him right now. And this one is fouled off of the umpire, it looks like. Infield umpire was walking in briefly to check on him, but he insists he's fine. So 0-1 here, and shout out to the umpires. They can get a lot of smack talk their way from players, coaches, all that stuff. But it's not an easy job for them, and putting them their bodies right in the way of potentially 90 miles an hour coming off of a bat or just flat out hitting them. It does not sound like a good time to me. Anyways, that slider was called a strike on the outside part of the plate, so it is 0-2 count now, and Weller is 1 strike away from being out of this jam. Shakes his head yes, but now he steps off, takes a breather there, comes back on. We'll see if they recycle through signs here. He might already be set on when he's throwing. Goes through the windup, throws on the way, dots another slider, but this one misses outside. It definitely seems to be the pitch that's working for him. But also, that heater can certainly get somebody swinging and missing, trying to catch up to it. And just on cue there, that is a heater that's blasted way out of play on top of the fire building across the street, 1 and 2. Great pick there from Edens as that slider gets yanked way outside, and that prevents another run from scoring. Lee's back in there with a 2-2 count now. Still 1 pitch away from being out of this jam, and he is now out of it. Strikeout with a slider. That thing is healthy tonight, giving the Crabs a lot of problems.
For the A's 0 and the Crowns 2.
So Weller has fanned 7 people in this game through 3 innings. Very impressive, but a couple of walks, a hit by pitch, and some good hitting there from the Crabs in the bottom of the 3rd inning, that is. Does cash him in another run, but could have been a lot worse. He gets out of a bases loaded jam there. And the A's will be coming back up to bat in the top of the 4th, down 2.
How you doing? How we go?
With that, to the A's, it's number 33, Hayes Eden.
Folks, there comes the fog monster. It is starting to roll in over Eureka, thankfully staying offshore a little bit more in Arcata here, as we will turn our attention back to the field. First pitch is called a ball to Hayes Edens, the leadoff batter for this inning. There we go. It's 1 ball, no strike to Edens. Here's the pitch from Sandberg. Called strike, looked to be in on his hands a little bit. Just got the corner 1-1. Yet another strike, looked to be perhaps a slider there, 1-2. Edens walked in the first inning, but his walk led to the pickle there for Tyson Miller in between the third and home. Would have been bases loaded if he stayed put. And Edens is shocked on that one, getting called a strike. Sandberg dialed up a curveball there, dropped it in the strike zone, first out of this inning.
Next up, number 13, Mikey Ramirez.
So with 1 out, Mikey Ramirez, the new batter, strikeout in his first at bat. He has been a very productive hitter for the A's this season. First pitch he sees, yanked way outside, ball 1. Second one up inside, Ramirez turns away, 1-1. Sandberg's 1-1, swung on to the first baseman, diving, and the second baseman dives for it as well, but can't make the play. That will be a base hit for Ramirez there. That was a tough one to make, but the A's will certainly take it. So yet another base runner for the A's. And coming up to the plate is going to be Luke Reed. Luke Reed led things off in the second inning, but flew out to left field. Certainly lives with being a contact hitter. A's would like to see that. Catcher fakes over to first to do a back pick, but decides against it, so Ramirez is fine and dandy over at first. Sandberg's has been, when he's been missing, that is, he's missing outside to the lefties and inside to the righties. There's been some close calls there. That was another one. Reed, he had to duck out of the way of that one. But no hit by pitch there. 2-0 is the count to him. Sandberg's taking the gander over at first. But he throws over to first and bounces it to the first baseman. But good pick there by Lee. That could have been easily second base there for Ramirez, but good stop there. So after that long pause in between pitches for Reed, here he comes. Ramirez on the way to second. Ball on the pitch, and Ramirez easily has second base. Stolen base there for Mikey. So runner in scoring position here once again for the A's, and 3-0 is the count to Reed. One base hit could cash in a run here for the A's, but we'll see if he swings on 3-0. No, he doesn't, because that is a ball. So Reed has first base on the walk. Once again, runners on first and second for the A's. And Nevada is digging into the batter's box, the third baseman.
13:40 a.m. And thank you to Bi-Coastal Media for carrying our crowd.
His first time up, he struck out.
Next up, number 12, Luke Humboldt.
Sandberg's been getting runners on base here for the Athletics, but he's been finding ways to get out of these situations as his first pitch is a breaking ball in the dirt. Nevada swings at that one 0-1. Couple of taps on the plate for Nevada. Now gets set in the batter's box. Sandberg taking a peek over at Ramirez, looks back at his catcher. Now comes home 0-1, swung on and missed once again. Looked to be yet another breaking ball, and Nevada can't touch it. On two is the count here. Nevada's going to be looking to shorten up that swing and just get it in play to be able to move the base runners. And he gets bailed out here 0-2. He gets drilled in the back. That's a base for him. And bases are juiced for the Athletics. Great opportunity here to cash in. Looks like we're going to have a conference on the mound with the pitching coach and Sandberg just to settle the nerves.
Filled at the water filtration station located at the end of the visiting team dugout at the first base side. And look for it in front of the bases. The Crab Water Filtration Station was donated by Crab Superfans Amy and Steve Bonner of the Outfitting Construction and Locomotive Story.
A tough start to the season for him at the plate, but this is a perfect opportunity for him to break through that mini slump to start the season and cash in some runs here for the A's. Much needed runs at that. First pitch to him is down low, ball one. This one's hammered down the left field line, but it's going to go foul. That would have cashed in 2 runs most likely for the A's, but instead, Sanders will remain at the plate with a 1-1 count. So he digs back in. Sandberg is set. 1-1 pitch on the way. Curveball that breaks into the zone for a strike 1-2. Pitcher scoots up closer to the plate, interestingly enough. Perhaps setting up for a pitch out there, but nothing doing. That ball is up high, 2-2. Shadows starting to overtake the field here. We'll be curious to see if that affects players' vision at all at the plate or fielding defensively. Sanders watches strike 3 go by on the outside. Saw him himself watching that one go by. Looked like Sandberg blew a fastball by him. He was expecting off speed, but great opportunity to get a ball in play there with one out and cash into the front. But now it's going to be up to Parker Cristall. First time he was up, he was hit by a pitch. First pitch he sees, he hits this one out to right center field. The right fielder's going to have to run on this one. He is not going to get it. Bounces in the warning track, off the wall. Here comes Mikey Ramirez. Here comes Luke Ree. And here comes the ball through the plate. Right there to get the ball at the plate. That is 2 runs for the Athletics. They tie this game up. 12 innings of play. That ends the inning here. They finally cash in some runners on base. Parker Crystal's RBI single, 2 RBI single at that. Gets the A's back into this one. So it is 2-2 as we go to the bottom of the 4th. Well, it's officially hoodie time. I showed the fog.
Number 13,
That
Michael
sun's just getting too
Ferraro.
low and it's getting chillier out there, so I'm going to warm up. First pitch from Weller, called strike, looked to be a slider. So A's showing some life here. They got 2 runs on the board there. Clutch 2-out hit there from Parker Crystal, and that's got to feel good after yesterday's clobbering. As this one is clobbered out to left center field, Miller on the run. He can't get it. Just finding him. Mikey Ramirez there to pass out, throws it into the cutoff lane, and not going to be in there. Triple. Readout triple for Fresno. And just like that, when the A's have something good going, feeling good, the Crabs come right back at him. Leadoff triple for that.
Next up, number 2 is Nolan Hamilton.
Something interesting going on here, folks. Just notice there's a lot of defensive changes here. Sanders has moved over to third. Gabe Cazares has come into this game. He's at second base. And Luke Nevada is now at first. So that means Ethan Wood is out of this game. Completely unsure why, but certainly hope all is well with him. So 1-1 is the count to the new batter. That is Hamilton. He watches that one go outside, not called for a strike instead of ball. 2-1. So based off of all that adjusting, I assume Cazares is the one that comes in for Hood since he's the one new player. So Cazares will be batting third in the lineup now. Three and one is the count to Hamilton now. Weller is set. He goes home. This one's chopped over to George Smith. He's going to throw this one over to first. And just like that, the Crabs snatch back the lead in this one. 3-2 is now the score. That ground out to George Smith cashes in an RBI for Hamilton. Perazo scores after his leadoff triple. And the 9-hitter Reed is up to bat. He walked in his first at bat in the third inning and ended up scoring for the Crabs. First pitch was a ball. Now the second pitch is a strike as he fouls this one out of play down the third base side. 1-1. Bounces in the dirt. That's a ball. 2-1. You hear that banking and cheering, the hometown Arcata crowd on their team with "Let's Go Crab" chants. Swung on a miss there, and that is a strikeout for Reed. My count was wrong.
Number 9, Keenan Morris.
That is 8 strikeouts for Weller now. Very impressive here from the young man. And we're going to rotate to the top of the lineup with 2 outs now. Morris is the batter. He has walked and got a single along with a stolen base. First pitch he sees chopped up the middle to George Smith, who throws it over to Luke Nevada at first base. Easy money for the A's there as they get third out and end the bottom of the fourth. But Crabs get 1 run back, and they are back in the lead 3-2 as we go to the top of the fifth.
On the mound for your Humboldt Crabs. From Sacramento State, the freshman from Sacramento State, number 7, Peter Caldera.
Top of the fifth inning, there's a view of that chain link monster at the bottom and all the numerous trees here up in Northern California. Those redwoods sure are beautiful. Here we are back with the action. The first pitch is called a strike. First batter of this new inning, it is the shortstop, George Smith. He watches that one bounce to the backstop. 1-1 is the count. New pitcher on the mound for the Crabs. It is Caldera. This one bounced in the dirt. Back-to-back pitches in the dirt. 2-1. 2-1 pitch, looked to be a slider, breaks into the zone. 2-2 the count. So the book on Sandberg is closed as mentioned. We'll take a brief look at his stats. 4 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 earned runs. He did fan 6. Walk count was a little high for him, though. He had 4 on the start. Full count to George Smith as this one's hit down the right field line. It is foul, and we'll do it again on the 3-2 count. George Smith will take a leadoff walk here for the 5th inning. Something I have mentioned that he has done very well with in this young season is getting on base to lead things off. So here we go. Tyson Miller, the second hitter in the lineup. Looking to continue things here for this inning. The first pitch he sees is a strike. 0-1. This ball gets away from the catcher unexpectedly. There goes George Smith to second base. So he will certainly take that free base there. It looked to be a pass ball. Perhaps the catcher got crossed up on pitches there. But here we go. All of a sudden, Miller has a runner in scoring position, that is. And with no outs, 1-1 count, he dribbles this over to the shortstop who scoops it off the ground, throws it to the first baseman. Routine out there for the Crabs, but George Smith heads over to third base, and the Athletics have the tying run 90 feet away. And the go-ahead run coming up to the plate in his first at-bat of the game is Gabe Cazares. He is the substitution for Ethan Wood. As mentioned, I am unsure why he has left this game, but Gabe Cazares is at second base. Navad took his spot at first. Sanders went over to third, and Gabe takes over his spot in the batting third. So he is batting third. First pitch he sees of this game is a strike. 0-1 the count. Infield playing very much in. This one spiked outside, 1-1. Infield is trying to prevent George Smith from coming home and tying this game up. Swing and a miss on a low pitch there, 0-2. That 1-2 pitch gets away from the catcher, but George Smith isn't going anywhere on that. 2-2 to count. It was a slider that sort of crossed him up, tried to underhand it, but just trickled away from him to the edge of the home plate cutout. Count is even, 2-2. Caldera looking for his sign. He's got it. He's set. Here comes the pitch. Cazares stays off of that one. Pitch was outside. Good discipline there. So the count is full. Caldera's 3-2 slider, but doesn't get the call. Good placement on that, but looked like it might have missed low. Cazares gets first base there, and there are now runners on the corners with one out. So with that walk, Hayes Edens, the cleanup hitter up to bat now. He has walked and struck out. And there we go. Foul ball over the street, 0-1. Great spot for Edens here to try and keep this inning going and fight back after the Crabs retook the lead. Pitch outside, ball 1-1. Third pitch of the at-bat, dribbled down the third base line, but plenty foul, 1-2. Caldera quickly gets set here and comes home with 1-2 way outside. Catcher was thinking about going to first base, but no go on that. Count evens up 2-2 now to Edens. Pitch on the way, it is outside. That looked to be pretty darn good, but it is now full. Back-to-back full counts here. Might actually be back to, no, it's not because Miller grounded out. Anyways, back-to-back full counts here. And there goes Casares on the move, but this one is hit foul. And do it again. Thankfully avoids hitting the car. I'm noticing with the fans here that the lookouts basically at the top of the bleachers, they will let the crowd know if it hits it or not. That slider misses outside. There's back-to-back walks here, and the bases are juiced once again for the Athletics. Casares over to second. Smith remains at third. Now first. Catcher going out to the mound to have a little pep talk with his catcher. Now he's coming back. And I saw a comment in the chat saying, "Get it, Mikey." Well, here you go. Mikey Ramirez coming up to the plate with bases loaded and 1 out. Huge spot here for the A's to take their first lead of the series. I do believe first lead in 3 games because they did not lead the Colt 45's game at one point. That final one, this one's hit down the right field line, but foul. Close. Anyways, that last game, the 10-7 loss against the Colts, our last game at Chukchansi Park. Do not believe the A's were leading at any point in that game, and most certainly last night they were never leading. So, big opportunity here. Caldera steps off momentarily to reset. Mikey will do the same with that brief timeout. Digs back in. Caldera gets set, and 0-1 pitch is on the way. Mikey, did he check his swing? Well, we're waiting to see if action comes home. Apparently it was, because that was called a ball. Not even seeing an appeal down to the first baseman, so 1-1 the count will be. Caldera's pitch is off speed, looks to be a slider that catches inside part. The catcher calls a timeout again. Very strange. 1-2 is the count. I'm really curious why they're doing that right now. Just called time at the beginning of this at bat with Mikey and then did it again. Anyways, that was very short, and we are back into the action here. Caldera is set for his 1-2 delivery. Here it comes, and Mikey chases high and inside. It is a strikeout.
Last call for 50-50. Last call for 50-50. Last chance coming up to make sure you've invested in both colors to increase your odds to win the cabin.
That was another big opportunity for the Athletics to scratch at least one run in to be able to sacrifice an out and get a run. But strikeout for Mikey, his second one of the game. And here comes Luke Reed. Pitch way outside, crossed up the catcher, but he did good to get back to that one. 0-1. McGree had a walk last time he was up, and he scored. He was the second run to come in on that Parker Crystal 2 RBI hit. This one dotted down the middle, strike 1-1. Todd is the on-deck hitter, third baseman to start out this game, now at first. Reed jammed inside, chopped foul into the street, 1-2. The Caldera one strike away from getting out of this jam. This one spiked in the dirt. Here comes George Smith to home, and he scores easily. So there is the response, the rebuttal from the Athletics after the Crabs retook the lead in the bottom of the fourth. Now the A's have tied it back up in the top of the fifth. Casares over to third, Edens to second. So now two runners in scoring position. Number 2 up to bat, 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Deuces are wild, as Vin Scully would say. This pitch, relays off. Casares thinks about going, but gets back. So now it's a full count. Thanks for prompting me with that comment. The score is tied up 3-3. Scoreboard should be up in the left-hand corner of the stream, though, as Reed takes a half-hearted swing and a miss there, and that's a strikeout. So more runners left on base for the A's. They did scratch one across the plate with that wild pitch that gets away from the catcher. George Smith slides into home to tie things up. So the A's have tied it up once again, 3-3, as we transition to the top or the bottom of the fifth.
It's not well, Neil. It was what I think it is. Don't forget our series against the Fresno A's. 3 game series concludes at tomorrow's 12:30 game, which is also going to be Fairy Day. Get ready for Fairy Day tomorrow at 12:30 game.
First pitch from Weller, slider in there for a strike. We are halfway through this one. Just started the bottom of the fifth with that strike. Weller still remains on the mound for the A's. He has been going strong here for them. Although he does have 3 earned runs, he has struck out 8 in this game. 3 walks, though, has been a bit of an issue to allow the Crabs to work around and get some more runs on the board. First batter for the Crabs in this inning is Suarez. He is the catcher, and he is in a 2-1 count to start things off. Fourth pitch he sees is outside. Looked to be a fastball, 3-1. Here we go. Weller tries upstairs, doesn't work, and there is another walk. Leadoff walk for Suarez. That is the 4th walk for happening. And the Crabs have taken the lead on their line early in this inning. Sutter Moss digging in. He has grounded out to third and has struck out. So 0 for 2 so far on the day, but most certainly, as we saw yesterday, he has the power to change the dynamic of this game. But he chops this one foul, and it just skirts by the first base bag on the right side, so barely foul, 0-1. The off-speed pitch that misses, 1-1. Well, I can see it's getting darker on our feed here with the sun setting. We are still approximately 28 minutes from sunset, but once we start getting darker and darker with the daylight and those lights light up the field, it should make for a better view here. So a little bit of patience for perhaps a half inning for half inning for an inning, and we should be getting that better picture again. But certainly was nice to have that sunlight while we did. That pitch was fouled off there by Moss, and it is a 1-2 count to him now. Weller taking a couple peeks over at first. Now comes home. Curveball rings him up. Caught him looking. Yet another strikeout for Weller. That is 9, 1 away from double-digit strikeouts.
Hitter number 16, Adam Hagon.
He is fanning Crabs left and right, and look at him. He's locked in. He is just waiting for the batter to step in. Batter is taking his sweet time. That's Enyart, the DH, who homered twice yesterday. Weller now gets set after Enyart's leisurely entrance to the batter's box for his at-bat. And this curveball looked to get away from him, but did not hit him. 1-0's the count. Suarez extending his lead over at first base. And Weller checks on him at first. Ooh, it drilled him. Might have drilled him in the hip or on the ribs. Weller was running in there, potentially trying to tag him with the ball on the ground, and Suarez not touching the bag, but he does get back in there in time. Looks like he's okay there. Rib shots never feel good, though, but certainly don't want to come out of the game for anything minor, bruises, whatever it may be, so he's going to stay in there. He gets back to the cut of the first base grass there, and there he goes down. Swing and a miss, throw down. Casares puts the tag on. He's out. Great catch and throw there. Strike the call on the pitch. 1-1 will be the count now to Enyart, but Suarez cut down on a great throw by Edens. Casares with the great tag. So 2 outs now in this inning. And this ball spikes perhaps 5 feet in front of the plate, 2-1. Weller now in his windup, and this one's down in the dirt again. 3-1 the count. Weller in trouble of getting another base runner here at first base after getting the help of his defense with that caught stealing from Hayes. But this one's chopped to the third baseman Sanders, but it's foul. Boy, that could have been really interesting. I mentioned yesterday about those big lips on the infield grass, and that one took a heck of a hop getting back into the infield dirt. If that was about 6 feet earlier, that could have been the most strange or the strangest fair ball call we've ever seen. Anyways, after all that rambling, 3-2 is the count. Full count now. Crabs fans stomping their feet. This one's fouled up to the top of the screen. Knocks a little bit of moss off the screen. So we'll do it again, 3-2. More stomping, and this one's chopped over to George Smith. Fields a cleanly throw over to Nevada. First, he's out.
The end of 5
A's are looking like a crisper unit tonight. A lot better there on the field, both offensively and defensively. They are well in this one. After getting out of this one, bottom of the fifth, we rotate to the top of the sixth. Things are tied up. A's looking to take their first lead of the game.
Back to the Brazilian commissioner, Luke DeVoe.
Here we go, top of the sixth. Luke Navad leading things off here for the Athletics. And he takes a first pitch called strike. That looked pretty darn high, actually, but 0-1 will be the count to him. Last time Navad was up, he was hit by a pitch, and he gets hit by a pitch right now. Impeccable timing, but not in a good way with me referencing that. Looks like it grazed his hand there, but needless to say, leadoff base runner here for the Athletics. So 2 hit by pitches for Navad, and he's getting stuck today. And Sanders stepping in. He's 0 for 2 with 2 Ks. One of them swinging, one of them looking, and there is a swing and a miss for him. Strike 1. Second pitch he sees called strike. Looked to be down the pipe, perhaps favoring the inside corner. Quickly finds himself in an 0-2 hole. Will keep an eye on Nevada over there. He has a very conservative lead, takes a bigger lead, secondary lead. This one's bounced back pretty close to me, but won't hit me. Well, good news for me tonight is that I have a baseball glove with me, so I'll be able to catch one easily if it's coming from my equipment. 0-2 once again. He gets run on an inside pitch. Sanders does not like that, and he's heading back to the dugout with 3 strikeouts on the day, 2 of which being a strikeout looking, as we just saw right there. Well, after that, Parker Cristall, the 9-hitter, coming up for the A's, and he delivered the big hit to tie things up. He hit a big shot out to right center field, and he hits a big shot here. That might leave the ballpark. Left fielder's going, go. Watch this. It's off that chain link monster. Here comes Nevada over to third. Cristall is into second base. That is a banger of a double for Parker Cristall. And huge for the A's here to try and take the lead. Parker Cristall is delivering for the A's today in a big way. After that very long double, here comes George Smith, the 1-hitter in this lineup. Big opportunity for him to cash in these 2 runs in scoring position. With only 1 out here, anything in play could likely result in a run from Luke Nevada. First pitch is called a strike to Smith. Heck yeah, Mama Cristall. Go Parker. That was a great hit from him. Smith takes the ball there. 1-1 is the count. Boy, that looked out off of the bat, but that just shows you how tall that chain link monster is. It probably hit halfway up it. This one is smacked out to right field. Looks like the right fielder will have it, but that will be a run for Luke Nevada here, and the A's take their first lead of this series. They are up 4-3. That is a good piece of baseball right there. Sacrifice fly by George Smith, giving the A's the lead.
Next, number 4, Tyson Miller.
Parker Cristall stays on second off of that sacrifice fly. Right fielder knew he didn't have to play at home, so he made sure that Cristall was staying put. Here comes the mascot for the Crabs, and this one's dribbled up the middle, throw on the way, and Tyson Miller is out. That will end the top of the 6th inning, but the Athletics take their first lead of this series on Nevada getting hit by a pitch. Parker Cristall, monster double off that chain link monster, and George Smith with the sacrifice fly to right field. Bottom of the 6th, A's looking to hold on to the lead. All right, bottom six here. This one's fouled away. 0-1 is the count, and Ryan Weller is seeking his sixth inning of work here. He is one strikeout away, that is, from 10 strikeouts on the day. Walks are at 4 right now, and if he is going to stay in this ball game for this inning, he is going to want a lot more of those strikeouts and limit those walks. Walks are certainly going to keep the Crabs in this one. They're in this one either way. It's only a one-run game, but walks are killers for starting pitchers and teams. Weller had an 0-2 count, now goes to 1-2 with that slider missing outside. Here comes the next pitch, chopped over to Brian Sanders at third base, throws it over to Luke Navad out.
And is showing your number one fan. We love you, Miss Howling.
Good fundamental defense going on for the A's at the moment, especially for Sanders. As mentioned, we have seen him play at third once this year, but he was starting at second for the first half of this game and then had to transition over to third. So playing two separate positions in this game. Fielding clean from him either way. First pitch of the new at-bat is a ball 1-0. It is to Lee, the first baseman for the Crabs. Second pitch to him is outside, ball 2. That was good location. Weller is curious where that missed. Looks like he maybe takes some accountability there. Saw him pat the chest saying, my bad for missing location, but looked pretty good either way. The 2-0's the pitch. Did he check his swing? Umpire says no. He calls it straight up at home plate. 2-1. Slider misses low and away. Fifth walk of this outing for Ryan Weller. His 3-1 pitch is dotted on the outside, strike 1. That looks pretty similar to the 1-0 pitch in this at-bat, but he'll certainly take it as he is one strike away from his 10th K. There it is in the glove, foul tip, strikeouts, and Lee is upset with himself. He takes his helmet off and is storming back to the dugout as he is yet another victim of Ryan Weller's slider. So quickly, 2 down now, 1 out away from quickly being out of this inning and going to the top of the 7th. And Perazo, the shortstop, is the new batter for the Crabs. First pitch to him, he's showing bunt. He did bunt it, but he bunted it foul. That pitch ran inside on him, and he was trying to pull it away and also get out of the way of being hit. But ends up in an 0-1 hole. Weller's 0-1 outside, 1-1. Definitely looks like Weller has really been leaning into that slider. I've mentioned that earlier in this broadcast, but still a consistent theme here. But he could still dial up that heat. And he did it just there, but this one skips in the dirt at Perazo's feet, and he was able to duck out of the way of that one, 2-1. 2-1 upstairs, 3-1. Just like last at bat, gets up to a 3-1 count. Wouldn't be surprised if he goes with a slider here, but he goes with a fastball instead, and it's chopped foul, too. That was certainly the safer option, but Weller seems to have a real good feel for that slider pitch. Quite interesting that the umpire is walking out to Weller with the ball. The ball, excuse me. Anyways, doesn't look like anything fishy or out of the ordinary going on. Perhaps the umpire just wanted to take a brief walk instead of squatting for the last 6 innings. Either way, 3-2 pitch, full count, payoff pitch for Weller on the way, but this one gets away from Edens. He was outside anyways. So that is ball 4.
Let's hear for the back row, Quinn Cleveland. And now number 2, Nolan Hamilton.
Crab's got a little bit of life here in this inning. Scoreboard still shows 1 out, but I am fairly certain there's 2 outs in this inning. Should have been a ground out to Sanders and then a strikeout. So, yeah, undoubtedly there's 2 outs, and the new batter is Hamilton. First pitch to him was a strike. We will keep an eye on Brazo over at first. He has a rather conservative lead. There he goes, though. Swing and a miss. Throw down. Casares with the tag. He slides to get him. Oh, there's the second try to get up, but he doesn't get him. Initial tag was late. Also was safe, but then he slid through the bag and had to readjust to get his hand back on the bag. Casares unable to get him on that second attempt, but 0-2 is now the count. 1 strike away from being out of this inning, and 6 strong innings for Weller. And there he goes again. This one is strike 3 on the outside part of the plate. Throw down doesn't matter. Throw down doesn't matter because this is the end of the inning. Crowd here is confused because the scoreboard is only showing 1 out. Call after the base was safe, but it doesn't matter. That is the 11th strikeout of the game for Weller. He is on fire with those strikeouts. 6 all innings from him. I doubt we'll see him for another inning, but who knows? Anyways, he holds the 1-run lead, and we go to the top of the 7th. A's seeking some more run support.
From anonymous to essentially fear God's names. Back to the A's, number 8, Gabe Pizarro.
Top of the 7th, leadoff batter, Gabe Casares, and as mentioned, oh, what happened to that camera there? Sorry, folks. There we go. I don't know how that happened. I had it set and then it just popped right up. Anyways, 1-1 count here to Casares. He is the replacement for Ethan Wood. This is his second at bat. First one, he was able to draw a walk, and he's on his way to doing the same here. 2-1 the count to him. And he swings. He swings that one. 2. He goes down looking. He knew it. Strikeout looking for him. One out in this inning.
From Hazel and Charlotte, look for the best people on earth. You play. Up number 33, Hayes Eden.
Catcher Hayes Eden's up now. Clean up batter. He has walked and struck out, and I do believe drew another walk in the 5th inning. I did not record what he did. My apologies on that. First pitch to him was a ball. Here comes Caldera with the second pitch. Slider misses outside, 2-0. Catcher tries to frame that low fastball, but umpire shakes his head no, wasn't going for it. And 3-0 here for Hayes Edens. Pitch down the pipe called strike, 3-1. The old reliable, when you need a strike in a 3-0 count, just throw a fastball down the middle, and usually batters are not going to swing. 3-1 pitch on the way. There's another one that goes by for a strike, and quickly 3-2. Edens has watched all 5 pitches of this at-bat. First 3 were balls. Next 2 were strikes, and first swing of this at-bat is a tiny little dribbler that goes foul. Three, two, once again, hit out to right center field. Right fielder looks like he's got it. Yes, he does. Well, that was hit in the gap that you'd want it to be, but it just hung up too high there in that night sky, and he was able to reel it in 2 down.
Got a shout out to the group to Susan Stein. Happy retirement. We love you.
All right, 2 down. Mikey Ramirez, the left fielder, up to bat. He does have a base hit, and he scored the first run of the game for the Athletics, but now, well, also has 2 strikeouts. And he chops this one up the middle. He is on the move. So is the shortstop. Throw over. Gets him just in time. And that is a 1-2-3 inning. The Crabs defense. Athletics go down in order. Strikeout, fly out to right, and a ground out to the shortstop. So here we go. 7th inning stretch here in Arcata, and Crabs will be coming back up to bat, looking to reclaim the lead.
For 81, Humboldt Crabs baseball. Later this month, we will host the Super Bowl League Series before hosting the Lincoln Potters the weekend of the 27th. The week of July, we got a midweek series against the Marysville Giants and a 4th of July weekend series against the Solano Mudpie. July of 2:30. Then they hit the road for Medford Roads and come home to host the West Coast Kings. So it's scheduled for baseball on Saturday, starting at 5:30. In store. Got a shout out to Tyson Worth from Mom and Dad. Congratulations on graduating from preschool. Love you.
Well, one of the best traditions in baseball, one of the best traditions in all of sports. I mean, seventh inning stretch in baseball, and it's nice to see how a community comes together here. Touched on it yesterday, but this is really what it's about: baseball and a community event. And that first pitch misses in for a ball. My spidey senses were tingling that Ryan Weller's day was done, and that is the case. It is Cal Noonan from Canada on the mound. He plays his college ball at University of Mary, one of a couple of players on the team, as Navad bodies this one down and slides with the ball in the glove and gets the runner just in time. Smart play there, quick thinking from him, and that is out number one of this inning.
Thank you. Underline the word beg like 14 times.
So recapping Weller's day as Noonan gets the first out of his outing here. 6 innings, strong innings, 3 hits, 3 runs, and he fanned 11 crabs. 5 walks, though. That is a high number, but 11 strikeouts in 6 innings. That is no doubt impressive stuff. First pitch called strike there. And this one's hammered out to right center field, but one is caught out. I was blanking on Tyson Miller's name for a second. Miller was shifted in the right center gap there, so he was able to handle that one. Otherwise, that might have been a gapper double there for Morris. It was a very quick 2 outs here for Cal Noonan and the Fresno Athletics in the bottom of the 7th inning. That brings up Suarez, the catcher. First pitch he sees drops in for a strike, 0-1. Noonan's second pitch in the dirt, swung and missed. Dirty stuff. 0-2. One pitch away from a very quick first inning for Noonan. That one looked to be a 2-seamer that misses outside, 1-2. That one was certainly over the plate, but misses low, 2-2. And I tell you what, I didn't see this substitution made, but we most certainly have a new substitution. That is absolutely Julian Rodriguez behind the dish. So Hayes Eden's day is done as well. That could just be a substitution just to get Rodriguez into the game here. Could also be an injury. I certainly don't know, of course. Those are questions that I can ask Coach Wyatt Featherston after the game and deliver to you on the broadcast tomorrow. Called strike 3 on the outside part of the plate. He slid a slider into the outside. So there, that is a quick 1, 2, 3 inning for Cal Noonan and the A's on defense.
From your favorite ACS.
All right, top of the 8th coming up. Athletics are 6 outs away from getting some revenge on the Crabs here today. But first, they want to cash in some more runs in the top of the 8th.
Also, I tried to thank Bill and Mary. A green ticket with the number 524.
Green ticket number 524.
We have a winner here.
So you are so beautiful. Birthday shout out to Matt, to August, and Johnny. Happy birthday to Eliana from Nobody.
Rising moon
For the
in the
Humboldt
night
fans.
sky, twilight sky here. I am pretty impressed
Number
with how
15,
good that looks on the cameras we have for the baseball game. You can see the craters and the sun hitting the moon and everything. This one is hit up the middle to Luke Reed. Apologies for not getting this on camera. Throw, but it gets him in time. That is one out in this inning. We'll refocus it down back here on the field. There we go. So quickly, one out there. Luke Reed grounds out. As I just mentioned, here comes Luke Navad digging into the batter's box. That pitch outside for ball one to him. Navad has a strikeout, but he's also been hit by two pitches. In the fourth inning, he was trying to be the third RBI for Parker Crystal on his hit, but he got gunned out at home on a fantastic relay from the outfield, and he did end up scoring in the sixth inning. His run is the fourth run on the board, which has given the A's the lead, and he nearly gets hit here on this one. 3-0 is now the count. Pitcher comes back with 3-0 called strike 3-1. New pitcher on the mound for sure, just can't really get a number right now. Chopped foul here by Navad, and 3-2 is quickly the count to him. So it looked like the number was 18, so that's Lenhart for the Crabs on the mound. Here comes full count 3-2. Oh, chin music there from Navad, but hits the matrix move on that one to get out of the way, and he has another base. No base hits for him today, but two hit by pitches and a walk, so certainly being productive for the A's out on the base paths. He'll take first base, one out here in this inning, and Brian Sanders up to bat. Rough day for him at the plate. He has three strikeouts, two looking, one swinging. Infield umpire calls time here. Don't know why. Perhaps there is a stray ball in play from the Crabs bullpen. All right, play resumed now. First pitch, Sanders sees way outside.
Brian Sanders, the second.
Sanders here. Hart gets set, fires, pitch a bit inside, but called a strike. Looked to be a similar pitch that Sanders got rung up on in his last at bat. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. It is chopped foul right in front of home plate. Right at home plate, I should say. If it was in front of home plate, that would be a fair ball. Anyways, 1-2 the count. Taking a long gander over there at first base. Now he fires. Slider misses way outside. Easy take there for Sanders, 2-2. Sanders swinging a miss. That is 0 for 4 strikeouts. Gotta be a rough feeling. I referenced this last night, the possibility of Rams hitter, and now we've seen it with the A's hitter. That is, in slang terms, a sombrero, 4 strikeouts to him. Night to forget at the plate for him, but done a good job at third base stepping in for the whole defensive realignment with Ethan Wood leaving this game in the 4th inning. So 2 outs now. Parker Crystal has been a big igniter of the Athletics offense here today. He takes a healthy hack, and that one missed 0-1. But taking a look at his day, he has 2 hits. I have to see how it was ruled in the 4th inning, but I had it just as a single. But that was the 2 RBI hit from him that ended up tying things up in the 4th inning. But he also delivered a massive double in the 6th inning, and that ended up leading to George Smith's sacrifice fly that cashed in Luke Navon. 1-1's the count to Crystal. He takes that one low. 2-1 now. Hitters count for him early in this one. We're going to take a look at game changer to see if he does indeed have 2 extra base hits or not. But in the meantime, here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. He was out in front of that one. Looked to most likely be a changeup. So 2-2. Yep. Parker has 2 doubles on the day. It is officially ruled. Fans get loud here, banging their feet on the bleachers. 1 strike away from being done, but this one spiked in the dirt. Full count. Here come the moving feet again on the bleachers. 3-2, full count. Runner on the way. Did he check his swing? It hit his bat, so foul ball. We'll do it again. Big pitch here. Foul. Straight back to the screen. Another 3-2 pitch coming. I won't call it anticlimactic, but it is certainly keeping us on delay here. The fans are certainly adding to that vibe of the importance, even though there's only a run on first base. But Martin Crystal seeing the ball pretty well here, so we'll see if we can deliver once again. Fouls. There goes Luke Devon. Foul straight back to the screen again. rinse and repeat going on right now. Crystal doing a great job of keeping things alive here. Looking to piece one up. Meanwhile, Leonard looking to try and find something. Parker out, but he draws a 2-out walk. Great at bat there for Parker Crystal. I can hear the A's dugout from here roaring in approval of that great at bat.
Solid. Very. I hope I'm saying the last name right. Happy birthday, Dollar.
Well, after all of that action, might have been darn near 10 pitches. Crystal gets first base on the walk, and runners are now on first and second with 2 outs. Keep confidence on the mound. Catcher Suarez comes back home, and George Smith, the number 1 hitter, coming up for the Athletics. So yet another opportunity here for the Athletics to increase that lead. Insurance runs, as they like to call it. First pitch is fouled straight back to the screen. 1.
George.
Second pitch he sees, fastball upstairs, 1-1. Lenhart's 1-1 pitch in the dirt looked to be a slider. 2-1 count for George Smith as he quickly steps back in. Lenhart taking his time, gets his foot now against the rubber. Looking for the call. He's got it. Gets set on the way. Pitches inside, and looks like the pitch was called a strike. That looked to be pretty far inside. If it was on the swing, umpire would have pointed at George Smith. So pitch on the strike. That one ran in on him. Maybe was a good two-seamer. Hard to tell from my angle, but anyways, 2-2, 2 outs. Hit to the first baseman who tackles it on the fly. That's an out. He grabs the escape without letting any more runs score on the fourth for the A's. They're still down 1 run though, and they are running out of opportunities to tie things up, take the lead. They got 6 out, 5 outs to work with. That is 6 outs for the A's get a win here. All right, bottom of the 8th. Those lights are becoming more prominent, making the view better on the field, and that is a big swing and a miss for Moss, 0-1. Cal Noonan's still on the mound for the A's, looking for a second inning of work. His second pitch to Moss, another looper in there for a strike. Going two, Noonan has been buzzing through these batters here with a very low pitch count. And he goes with another looper. This time it is outside, 1-2. This windup on the way, chopped over to the first baseman, Navad. He fields it cleanly and it almost burned out there on the dirt, but kept his balance and went to first with that one out. And the fog monster is officially starting to overtake us. You can see it lights here on the first base side, and yeah, it is here already. But it certainly held off way longer than yesterday, and we're thankful for that. Looks to be lower than yesterday, though, interestingly enough. Noonan's first pitch was a ball on that one, 1-0. The batter is Enyart. He is the DH. Second pitch, swung on and missed. Filthy two-seamer that ran away from Enyart's at bat. Enyart's bat, I should say, 1-1. 1-1, swung on and missed. Looked like he went back to the well with the two-seamer on that one. 1-2. 1-2 pitch, swung on, looked like it was foul. No, umpire says no. That's a swing and a miss ball in the dirt. Rodriguez throws it down to first. Strikeout and make sure he's out at first base.
Next up, number 28, Nico Lombardi.
All right, Lombardi up for the Crabs with 2 outs in the 8th inning. And yes, you heard it right. Lombardi, just like the legendary Packers head coach. And he hits this one out to right field. Runs over and gets it, though, at the warning track. And he slaps 5 with his bullpen guys down there. They're hyped. Everybody's hyped. A's are bringing the juice tonight. They are excited. They are ecstatic. They are 3 outs away from winning this one after a dredging yesterday by the Crabs. Wouldn't that feel good? But they want to get more runs here in the 9th inning to try and make sure that's the case. Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. Audio wasn't going there for a second. We're good, though. Here we go with Tyson Miller, the leadoff batter in the top of the ninth. First pitch to him was a ball. 1-0. Here comes the second pitch from Lenhart. That one's down in the dirt, 2-0. Miller stepped back there, was talking with perhaps Casares or the dugout, maybe about something with the pitcher. He checks his swing, but doesn't matter. Call on the pitch is a strike, 2-1. Miller does not have a base hit today, but he did walk his first 2 times, and after that, he has grounded out twice. He takes another ball there, 3-1, and he's 1 pitch away from 3 walks in this game. And there it is, outside pitch, ball 4. He has a trio of walks now, and he is the lead-off base runner here for the A's in the top of the ninth, who are seeking to add some insurance runs here.
Next up, number 8, Gabe Rivera.
All right, Casares, the second baseman, up to bat now. Miller already leading things off here. And he's already going for 2. Go throw down. It's got him in time for sure. Yes, it does. Empire sickness, he got him in the mix. He's out. Crabs fans love that one. A's not so much, but great throw from Suarez over there down to second base, and he had Miller out pretty easy on that one. So A's rolled the dice there as that pitch is swung on, fouled. 0-2 the count on Casares, but they rolled the dice there on that one, and it did not pay off. Looking to get a runner in scoring position early there. But anyways, back to the batter, 0-2. Casares, that was a heater, but it missed outside, 1-2. So as I mentioned earlier, Julian Rodriguez entered this game. He is the on-deck batter, so he's in there for these Edens, and there he is coming up as Casares strikes out there. Quickly 2 outs in this inning. First at bat of the game for Julian Rodriguez. We've seen him play right field. We've seen him be DH, and this is the first time I've seen him as a catcher in one of the games. I've seen him catch bullpens before, but to my knowledge, this is the first time he has been playing catcher in the 12 games we've played. Nice dig out there from the catcher. That's a ball, 1-1. Pitch of the at-bat swung on and missed. 1-2. One pitch away from being out of this inning and coming up for the bottom of the ninth, trying to come back. But this one's chopped down to third base line. It's foul.
Got a shout out to the booth from Charlotte and Hazel. You are awesome, but we have better here.
Lenhart sets, fires, chopped foul once again, and Rodriguez early on that one. Pitch outside. Catcher tries to frame it, but it's a ball, 2-2. Fans here are a little crappy about that call, but it was most certainly a ball. Anyways, count evens up 2-2. Pitch on the way to Rodriguez. It is chopped foul once again. It did go in fair play, but I presume it hit off of his foot or something like that. Either way, Rodriguez staying alive here, making the most out of his first at bat. He would certainly love to get on base. Another pitch. Page goes down to and they are done with their at bats. At least for now, we'll see what happens. But we are going to go to the bottom of the ninth and see if Noonan's coming back out there or if they're bringing somebody fresh from the bullpen. Either way, it will be a safe situation. And the Crabs are looking to come back here late in this one. Well, there's that fog coming in, rolling into town, and it's very, very low, as you can see. And A's are 3 outs away from getting this. A's 3 outs away from it. This one, Calvin is still on the mound. And his first pitch is down low for a ball. Leadoff batter here for the Crabs is the first baseman, Lee. Rough day for him at the department as well. 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. That pitch is down low 3-0, and those stumps on the bleachers are coming back from the Crabs fans, trying to rattle and off bound. And that pitch is inside for a pitch walk, leadoff walk for the Crabs, and they have life here in the 9th inning. Pinch runner coming in here. I'll try and get a number as quick as I can. Looks to be number 4. It is Rogers, who was a starter in last night's game.
Prepared for it. This has recovered. At the game worked fine. There's an offensive flag.
Rogers was the DH last night, so he did not have a position. So I think we'll see how the Crabs shuffle things up here. What the fans were chatting about there, but anyways, that conference on the mound is concluded.
13, Michael Barroso.
So just to recap, Lee was the leadoff walk for this inning, and Parker Rogers has come in to pinch run for him. So I do imagine he might consider going. That one is up and in, a little bit of chin music for ball one. And 5 pitches into this third inning of work for Cal Noonan. He has not thrown a strike yet. First pitch in there for a strike. I do apologize for anybody that did not like that distasteful chant going on. Wasn't as loud as other ones, but may have been picked up on the mic. Noonan comes back with the pitch. That one misses outside, 2-1. There is action going on in the A's bullpen. It is a right-hander on the mound. Might have to invest in some binoculars so I can look down there and take a peek at the numbers. This one sounded feels that Miller should be able to wrangle this one in. Only he drops it, and there goes the ring of the third batter. He's going to keep the floor. Miller has his hands over his head. It's not. So that's an error charge to Miller. Alonso is at second base, and Rogers is at third. Pep talk from Nevada and Sanders telling him to shake it off. Miller definitely is still beside himself. I can see that from here, and he is shaded pretty far, unless he's just taking a bit of a walk, but he's still shaded a bit towards the right field. Here comes Wyatt Featherston. He is going to make the call for a new pitcher. Noonan's outing is done. Pitches 2 innings, faces 2 batters who couldn't get anybody out. Crabs fans are loud here, and new pitcher is going to be coming in here. Looks like that might be Matthew Lopez. Can't quite tell. Yep, that looks to be Matthew Lopez. Heck of a situation for him to be called in here. 1-run lead, 2 runners in scoring position, that is, and no outs. But he's going to warm up right now. We'll take a quick breather, and we'll be right back. All right, warm-ups are over. Matthew Lopez is on the mound for the A's, and a heck of a situation. On first and second are Rogers at third and at second. Costly error potentially there by Miller. Down one, but I saw the outfielder control for him. in the warm-ups telling him to shake it off, keep your head in the game, and let's win this. Infielders are playing in. They do not want a run scoring here. They are playing for the win, not to try. They're playing for the win, not playing not to lose, if that makes sense. Anyways, that first pitch was spiked in the dirt. Could have been dangerous if it got away, but good block by Rodriguez. So 1-0 is the count. Lopez is set. Comes home 1-0 and swung on and missed with the heater upstairs. Crowd is into it here, but they're also a little bit tense. Just waiting to see what happens. They were stomping during Matthew Lopez's warm-ups. And here they go again on cue. That one's in the dirt. Rodriguez is able to stop that one, 2-1. Hamilton is the batter. Lopez is the pitcher. Here we go, 2-1. This is low and outside. That's ball 3. Well, one pitch away from a walk here. Certainly don't want that, but it potentially may not be the worst thing for the Athletics, as there would be a force out at every bag in that instance. But you don't even want to chance that if you're the Athletics. Here's the pitch, misses outside, ball 4. Well,
I attendance figures here, 1100, that's a beautiful baseball fan for the ball games. Saturday night, 1100 even.
appearance.
And then at that, we Humboldt crowd.
And here comes the 9 hitter,
Woo!
center fielder. The crowd, this crowd is loud. They're ready to see a walk-off home run. But we'll see if the A's can quiet those aspirations. First pitch is a curveball in there for a strike. Lopez's second pitch, foul. Out of play, 1, 2, or 2. Pitch from Lopez. Misses way up high. That looked to be off-speed pitch. Rodriguez bails him out, getting out of his crouch stance real quick to snag that one up. After that high miss, Warren keeps the counts. Lopez comes home swinging and a miss. Gets him on the strikeout there. Reed takes a seat on the bench, one out here, and the A's are breathing the slightest of reliefs here as they have a potential double play to end the game. But here comes the hometown kid from Eureka. Morris plays his college ball at Santa Rosa College. He's the third baseman, and he has shown that he is a darn good ball player through these first 2 games. But first pitch, he fans on it, 0-1. Heck of a situation here, folks, and we are just waiting, holding our breath, seeing how this hands out. This is by far the closest, tensest game we've had of the season so far. 12 games in. Lopez misses high and outside. 1-1. We got stomping from the Crabs fans. We got foul bells ringing, and we got a strike pitch from Lopez, 1-2. It's almost as if the crowd wants to get really loud, but at the same time, they are nervous, waiting to see what happens, as we all are. I am here at the desk, waiting to see what will happen. Fans are. This one's tough. To left field. Mike Ramirez is going to get it. This is likely going to stay a tie. Yes, sir. Yeah, that is a tie. Well, that is simply good baseball there, folks. Nothing else could really be said about that. With a 2-strike count, you just get it in play to try and drive in that run, and that is exactly what Morris did there. So, one more out here, and we will have extra baseball, or potentially the Crabs are going to walk it off here. Runners Barrazo and Hamilton stayed put on that sac fly, so they're still at first and second. That first pitch was taken for a ball, 1-0 to catcher Suarez. He has a walk, hit by pitch, walk, and struck out looking. Lopez taking a look at second, pitch on the way upstairs, 2-0. That runner cashed in from third. Stolen bases are quite possible here. There is already one in scoring position, so base hit gives you a good chance of scoring in that run, but they might consider trying to steal here to get him even closer. That pitch is inside, 3-0. Very curious to see if he has the green light here or not in this situation. At this point, him walking really doesn't affect any outcome, most likely, with that runner on second base. Now on third base with that walk being the winning run. Well, after that sac fly, Suarez walks, and we are back in a bases loaded situation. And this is it. Moss, chance to be a hero here. Lopez looking to send us 2 extra innings. Infielders are playing back with 2 outs. This was ripped down the line, but foul into the picnic area. Well, he got a hold of that one, but he was too far out in front of it. That would have been ball game right there if he kept it on the left side of that foul line. Pitch in there for a strike. 0-2. Lopez is 1 out away from sending this one to extras. Swing! This Lopez is piped, and so are the A's. They get out of that jam, and they get to live on to play more baseball. The Crabs do come back to tie things up here, 4-4, but the Athletics squeeze out of that situation and are up to bat here in the 10th inning. We got extra baseball coming your way, folks. Do not go anywhere. All right, extra innings. I am certainly not one to complain about baseball, but I sure hope this one gets over relatively soon because my hands are seeing. Anyways, we are playing with MLB rules, so that is Julian Rodriguez on second base. Each team will start out with a base runner on second for extra innings, and there's the bunt from a Ramirez, but it goes foul. 0-1. Mikey steps back into the batter's box after that. Oh, and 1 to count to him. Another bunt shown, but he pulls it back. That's a called strike 0-2, so most certainly will not be bunting here on 0-2. And that brings up actually something to talk about with people who may not be too familiar with baseball. If you go for a bunt attempt and you bunt it foul with 2 strikes, that is ruled a strikeout, and your at bat is done. Ramirez takes that one for a ball, 1-2. Pitch on here, rings him up way inside, and Ramirez is smiling in disbelief. Umpire has called that a few times tonight. Oh, and we got some action from the Athletics dugout. Umpire's telling them to get back in the dugout. I'm telling you, folks, that one looked like an atrocious call. I saw that one called on Brian Sanders earlier in this game, and that one looked to be even worse. Athletics coaches were irate on that one, but they remain in the game. Umpire just issues warnings, and he firmly calls that one a strike. Looks like his blood temperature might be rising, blood pressure rising after that altercation, verbal altercation, that is, with the Athletics coaches. Anyways, 1 down after that strikeout call. Rodriguez remains at second. That one's ripped out of play, foul ball. So quickly an 0-2 count here for Ree. Pitch on the way. Ree swings and misses upstairs and in, strikeout. Back-to-back strikeouts here for the A's in the 10th inning. And Luke Navad stepping in, trying to be a 2-out hero here and cash in Rodriguez from second.
Number 4, Luke Navad.
With this MLB rule with runner on second, getting a run is super, super crucial. Because just one base hit can end the game just like that. Not too sure why the umpires were second and third and now shifted back to first and second, but anyways, that happens. Here is Luke Navad stepping in for his first pitch, looking to cash in Rodriguez. Here we go. First pitch upstairs, outside, ball 1. This one fouled. 1-1. It's getting a little rowdy here in Arcata. Here comes the quick swing and a miss, 1-2. Stepping back in at a disadvantage with 2 strikes. Here comes foul. Back. We'll do it again on 1-2. And here comes the stomp from the fans. 2 strikes, 1 more strike from get to bottom of the 10th inning with a chance to win this game. Pitch to Nevada, up and outside, 2-2. First extra inning game of this young season. Athletics looking to try and win this one as this one bounces off the fire building across the street. Heard that goal bug. So count remains 2-2. Swan is pitcher is right. And Nevada is walking back to the dugout with disappointment. So Crab pulled the A's there in the top of the 10th inning, and they are coming up with the chance to walk this thing off in extras. All right, here we go. Top or bottom of the 10th, that is. Crabs with a chance to walk things off here. Runner on second base. All they need really is a base hit. That might be it. It is out to shallow right field, and he's going to come in to score. That is a walk-off for the Crabs, and they're sitting in the field. They're going crazy. Can't blame them on that one. They are swarming the hero of the night. That is Moss. Excuse me, that's Enyart. Mr. 2 home runs last night, and now a walk-off for him tonight. The A's played a lot better tonight with a good effort, but that is going to do it. They get walked off on tonight by the Crabs. That's going to definitely sting for the Athletics. That's 3 straight losses for them now, and hoping to snatch a game here without being sweeps. But great game there on both sides of the ball. Low hits, 4 hits for the Athletics, 5 for the Crabs. Actually, that's the score. My bad. 4 hits for the Athletics, 4 hits for the Crabs. And good game by Ryan Weller for the A's. He had 6 solid innings, 11 strikeouts. Parker Cristall was keeping the A's in this one as well with 2 doubles and cashing in multiple RBIs. But the Crabs just wouldn't let up. Bottom of the 9th, they tie things up, and then in bottom of the 10th, they walk it off. Stinging defeat there for the A's, and we will see you tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. for a matinee game before we travel home. Thank you, as always, for supporting us and this channel, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow for the final game of this series.